You're going to want to stick around for some of these Gypsy Rose things I'm about to tell you, because it's going to answer a lot of people's questions on a lot of different things, because I just spent the better part of an hour and a half reading a lot of stuff, and I'm going to show you some stuff that is going to answer a lot of questions. Here's Sergeant Hancock, who says that Claudinia and Gypsy had not been seen or heard from apparently 2 days, which would make it the 12th. Weird, whatever. But according to Sergeant Hancock, Gypsy was very ill with a degenerative genetic disorder. Interesting that people would know that. Now to Sergeant Hughes, it was said that Gypsy was wheelchair bound and had a degenerative genetic disorder and some sort of cancer, according to Kimberly. So this was mentioned to two different officers that she had a degenerative genetic disorder, but they want to argue that she didn't have it, but yet lots of people knew about it. Weird. They stated there'd been a burglary in this location in April. That would be when Gypsy stole the money in March to get Nick there, and apparently DeeDee didn't realize it, and they called it a robbery. Now to Officer Hughes, David just randomly blurts this out. David Blanchard stated that he had formerly been involved in running VisionCon, a local science fiction fantasy convention. David said in 2011, 4 years earlier, that Gypsy had arranged to meet a man at VisionCon and that the man had convinced her to steal money from her mother's purse and run away with him. Her mother had been able to find out what was going on and prevent anything from happening. Why would you pull that out of nowhere from 4 years earlier? Also, another neighbor said that there was certain people in the neighborhood that were a problem, and she did not want to tell me who these certain people were, but implied that they continued to cause issues. Interesting. DeeDee told Gypsy if she wanted to go to Wisconsin, she could pack her belongings and leave. Gypsy packed some of her belongings. Gypsy said she was going to be kicked out of her mother's house and that she and her mother's problems and arguments were over her and Nick wanting to be together. So, according to this, DeeDee goes and throws her out. She could have walked away free and clear. As for that whole being locked in the bathroom thing, so he reached around the door and locked it from the inside. Gypsy stated she never thought about unlocking the door to get out. So that's how the door got locked. He reached around, locked it, shut the door, and she didn't think to open the door. So there's a question answered. Honestly, to this day, I still feel guilty about doing it, Nick says. I do, because I learned so much about her mom after she told me more and more about it, after actually being able to live with Gypsy for a little while. I actually realized how good of a mom she was. She didn't open the door right away after the deed because she wanted to shave her private parts in her legs. Did she not shave her legs earlier, according to the texts? How much hair does this girl have? Is she a werewolf? Nick continued talking about the cleanup that occurred at Dee's home. Nick said for a while he and Gypsy cleaned together, but then because Gypsy wanted to get it done quicker, she started cleaning by herself. Also, Nicholas described Gypsy's bed as being full of stuffed animals. He said they moved the stuffed animals off the bed, did the deed, and put the stuffed animals back on the bed. Another question answered. Nicholas said that in regards to biting Gypsy, she would have marks and or bruises on her body from the biting because she had asked him to do that in a way to mark his territory. This is important. Nick said that the first time he bit Gypsy, it was because she had whispered in his ear that biting was a turn-on. Nick said that he had only bitten her twice, and while he could not recall the first time, he did recall that the second bite was on her right arm. Nicholas explained that Gypsy seemed to enjoy the second bite, even though it was a very hard bite. One of the officers says, I observed Gypsy to be wearing a t-shirt with what happened to be blood, what appeared to be blood on the right shoulder. Blue color in pants, black color boots, and she had pink fingernail polish on both nails. I observed a round bruise on Gypsy's right arm. Remember that bite that she asked for? that she claimed originally was a hickey and later claimed it was from Nicholas grabbing her and dragging her around the house. Setup. There were drops of blood from the mother's bedroom, in the hallway, dining room, and into the kitchen. Why is all of that everywhere? That's weird. She says her mother was killed sometime on the 9th. Okay? Now, this is really, really strange to me. Her mother was wearing a blue in color nightgown the night that she was stabbed to death by Nicholas. Blue. Blue. Does anybody remember it being blue? Because it's very obviously white in those pictures, but according to her, it was blue on the night that it happened. Oh, and when they went shopping after this, they decided that they needed to pick up pop, condoms, and lip balm. Because priorities. And of course, for those of you still doubting the genetic disorder, it's right here.